co-main event, man. Tanner Boser versus Ovince St. Preux. This is another matchup, AJ, that nobody saw coming. Tanner Boser himself was like, how the hell am I fighting this guy? First, because Ovince St. Preux isn't a heavyweight, right? He's fought a couple times at heavyweight, but he's basically like, dude, I'm not big enough. I need to stay at light heavyweight. That's where I belong. Tanner Boser has been on a rough stretch as of late. You know what I mean? He's dropped his last two. However, I do feel it's important to note that he just got a new contract prior to this fight being booked, AJ. But I got one other caveat that's going to completely, if you didn't know this, AJ, this may completely change your outlook on this fight. Tanner Boser, right? Sounds like, oh, I just watched him fight recently. Yeah, Ilir Latifi, that just happened. He lost a split decision. Watching it back, I guess I agree. Boser could have been a little more busy. But with that being said, did you know Tanner Boser? He's a Canadian, right? And if we know anything about the Canadians right now, they have very strict COVID protocols right now. So what did Tanner Boser do? He says, I want a quick turnaround. I'm still in shape. What have you been doing over the last 3 weeks, Mr. Tanner Boser? Quarantining. He hasn't been in his gym. He hasn't been training. The man has been quarantining, but he's like, I'm still in shape, so it's all good. Let's rock. Probably doing push-ups and shadow boxing in the hotel or something, you know. And he says literally the day he got out of quarantine, he flew back to Vegas so that he can get, you know, this fight stuff going. So that changed everything for me because I was like, all right, man, I think Boser gets it done. You know, Ovince St. Preux moving up to heavyweight. We saw how he got manhandled, you know what I'm saying? We even saw how he got manhandled by Jamal Hill, you know what I'm saying, at light heavyweight. So it's like, do we really want to see him? He's not the fastest. He's a little plodding these days. But then I saw that and I was like, God damn it, that threw everything out the window. And I don't know. So give me your take on this, AJ. Now that that information is out there, what do you think about this matchup?
Well, I think that could be a good or a bad thing, Derek. He's either been completely locked down, mentally focused, ready to fight, or he could just be a little lackluster, a little untrained. And really, I don't think the Ovince St. Preux part going up to heavyweight kind of matters because Tanner Boser's a little undersized heavyweight. I don't exactly remember what he weighed in his last one, probably around 230, 250, somewhere around there. But he always seems to be the smaller guy in the cage. Now, let's see how that happens with OSP. But I'm actually excited, man. The mullet, Tanner Boser, he's back. He throws a lot. He stays very active, throws a lot of feints, and he's surprisingly fast for a big guy. And going against a plotter, a marauder, just like OSP, I think it's going to make for a very interesting match. OSP in his last fight, I think he needs to shake it off. He's kind of had that weird, like you said, we saw him get absolutely manhandled by a dude who's probably half his age. I forget how young Jamal Hill is, but OSP, he's 38. He's getting to that age where everybody's starting to kind of wonder, what's going on here? How long are you going to last? But at the end of the day, OSP, he's an absolute legend. He likes to lull his opponents in, get them a little bored, and then hit them with the blitz. He's super strong. Very little activity, so he's able to maintain his cardio a little bit longer. Whereas Tanner Boser, man, he's in it for the fight. He's in it for the scrap. I really like the mullet, man. Tanner Boser, he's a solid fighter. His ground game needs a little bit of work. So that where I think is the X factor that OSP is going to do. He's going to come in. He's going to try to wrestle him, get that OSP choke, and really try to get it done. I think OSP, in his own mind, he's such an old school fighter that he just needs to get one back. He just needs to get back on that win streak. And the same for Tanner Boser. He's not as experienced in the game. OSP being 25-15, where Tanner Boser's 19-8-1. They're around the same record level, but OSP has been doing it at the high level for so much longer that I think he's going to be able to shake it off a little faster. Sure, Tanner Boser, he's been kicking it in quarantine for the last 3 weeks, but he's really struggled with the last two against Andre Arlovski and Ilir Latifi. He just hasn't been able to fight his kind of fight that he likes, and it's been a little underwhelming from a fan of Tanner Boser's. You know what I'm saying? What do you think, Derek? How's this one playing out?
Well, listen, I think that we had much more high of praises for Tanner Boser a couple months back. You know what I mean? Because he was looking like the next thing in the heavyweight division, and then a couple losses, a couple setbacks, and it all started with the Ciryl Gane fight. Once he lost that fight, everything kind of went downhill for him there. And he even said he was all like, "Yeah, I was just dumb enough to take the fight against Gane when like 8 dudes turned it down." You know what I mean? Whatever. But here's what's interesting is I looked up the weight. So Tanner Boser, his last weight was 242 pounds, right? But one thing that was interesting about OSP when he was talking about this matchup is he was all like, okay, so I'm not really worried about Boser. He's one of the bigger heavyweights. And I was like, that's not really true. Like, have you been doing some film study? You're the one fighting him, right? So he's not really a bigger heavyweight. He moves very, very well for a heavyweight, man. And I honestly think that that's going to be his major advantages in this matchup. Is he has speed and footwork. That's a major advantage right there to Boser, right? Ovince St. Preux. He's very flat-footed. He's very willing to just put his back up against the cage and just move in a circle. Tanner Boser isn't the dude who's walking his opponents down. He's very like kind of like in the middle of the cage, step back, come forward, step back, come forward. But I think that Tanner Boser has the added intangible that we talk about, AJ, is he said it himself. He's like, I need to get the monkey off my back. I need a win, right? It was the last fight on his contract, but obviously he got it renewed, so there's not that. But he says it's still like they can cut you, the UFC can cut you after any fight. So with the UFC being able to cut you after any fight, this dude needs to put a big performance together. Not just a win, but he has to have a decisive win against Ovince St. Preux if he wants to put himself back in that kind of upper tier echelon of the heavyweight division. Now, you already pointed out the age differences, AJ. You know, they have crazy age differences, but the thing is, the ground, AJ. You talked about it. He needs to shore up his ground game. Ovince St. Preux is known for the Von Preux choke now, right? You know what I mean? Like, this is something that he can really use as an advantage, but as of late, we haven't seen him try to work the submissions. We haven't seen him try to work the ground game very much, right? His last submission win was against Michael Alexichuk, man, and that was quite some time ago. That was like 3-4 fights ago. So with all of that, AJ, man, I'm honestly not too excited for this matchup. I'll be honest with you. You know what I mean? Ovince St. Preux, I don't remember who he was supposed to fight. Do you remember? This is another one. I don't know. You don't know?
No, I don't remember. I do know it was a late one, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I know that Ovince St. Preux, when he fought Ben Rothwell, he dropped Ben Rothwell. So the man has pop in his shots. He can get the job done, man. I just think that his pace isn't going to be enough. I think he's too content being just like I said, low output, man. He averages about like 2.5 significant strikes per minute. And the thing is, AJ, is I'm pretty sure he has a negative striking differential. And that means that he gets hit more than he hits his opponents. And we saw against Jamal Hill, man, it was a standing TKO. You know what I mean? Is that telling to you, before we move on real quick, is that more telling to you a standing TKO versus just a regular, you hit them and they drop and they go to sleep or something like that? What's more like ooh to you?
I think the shutting the lights off is more ooh, but what weirded me out about the standing KO is in the whole fight, OSP looked like he didn't care. He didn't look like he wanted to be there. He was just like, all right. Cool. Like, he would hit a couple blitzes. So I think that was a little more telling to me that when he was standing KO'd, he might not have been out. He might have just been like, all right, whatever. Cool. Yeah. Let's keep it running.
I'm with you, man. Listen, those blitzes, those straight punch blitzes of OSP, they're very random, and I think they're very effective for that reason. But I think on the feet is probably how he's going to have to get the job done, AJ, because Ilir Latifi is actually the only fighter that Tanner Boser has fought in the UFC who has taken him down. Nobody else has been able to take Tanner Boser down. So like he needs to shore up some stuff, but at the end of the day, it's probably not the end of the world, man. I think that he's having a short memory on this one, and he's saying like, listen, I just need to get a win. That's all that matters here. So AJ, man, that's the co-main. Minus 115 favorite, Tanner Boser, plus 105 or minus 105 for St. Preux. So this is very, very much a pick 'em, more or less, right?